Alright, hey everybody, one of Wisdom here. Kind of trying to put a method to the madness that you see in front of us. Getting a ton of questions, on what lights up, what characters do what, just all sorts of variables that, I myself as well am kind of interested in unraveling. That said, we just unboxed Light Core Prison Break, which you can see here beside Series 1 Prison Break. My plan is basically to unbox this next guy, one new character, and then hopefully as early as tomorrow night kind of go to town. Basically take what we've unboxed thus far, introduce it, figure out if there's differences, say in Pop Fizz and Punch Pop Fizz, Granite Crusher and Crusher, in terms of what they read out in the game, stats, everything like that. But I do kind of have a new setup here with the wireless portal from the Wii. For whatever reason, I've seen a ton of people say that it doesn't power up their light cores or giants. It seems to do mine just fine. That said, I've obviously not played the game with it, so I can't tell you battery life. Nonetheless, what I'm going to unbox now to kind of help us out as soon as I get to start playing is regular old Crusher. Actually pre-ordered him from GameStop along with some others. I got so ticked off calling around to a Walmart to see if and when any of them were doing a midnight release. I just went over to GameStop. They'd had the listings up for several days, and then they had add to cart and order online, and I just figured what the heck. Didn't feel like getting up early dealing with all that stuff, so I just went ahead and ordered. Hence why I hadn't already unboxed them. That said, Crusher, like I've said several times, I'm still getting quite a few questions on it. Based solely on aesthetics of all the giants, Crusher is by far my favorite. I'm a big Earth Element fan anyway, but he's just something about his look I'm just real interested in. Obviously I've not played anything overall favorite may change, but in terms of looks alone, Crusher will remain my favorite. That said, we'll take a look at the packaging here. Want to mention out, obviously he is a giant. He does light up. I'll kind of cover all that here in more detail here. His slogan is actually, it's Crush Hour. As cheesy as that is, I kind of like it. Just as the packaging here points out, the giants are incompatible with Spyro's Adventure, meaning if you put them on the portal, you basically see a screen like you do with Internet Explorer all the time where it's not compatible. You kind of get like this, I don't know, generic funky looking dragon thing, and this character can't be played in the game message. Something to that extent. It really doesn't do anything else. That said, obviously, it's going to work with giants. Again, here's a pretty good look at the packaging. Since this came from GameStop online, they still put that same UPC that you always saw last time around. The back, they basically all they do is they feature one little inset here, and then the promos are for Eyebrow, Swarm, Thumpback, and Bouncer. Actually, really looking forward to Eyebrow whenever he comes out. I'd kind of hoped he might be out before Halloween, but I also hoped Luigi's Mansion 2 would be out, so sometimes stuff doesn't happen. That said, the giants super size and super powers, and they have a light up effect, which we'll get to that here in just 1 second. We'll go ahead. Well, that doesn't work well, does it? I need to find my good knife again. I basically located it, and I'm not quite sure where it went. But that said, they have made significant improvements in the packaging this time. It's much easier to work with. I know some people, you've obviously got the camps to keep everything sealed, and then you've got people that could care less about packaging, and you've got some that actually open it but keep the packaging. If you fall into that category, you'll appreciate this. For everyone else, it just means the toy comes out a little easier. I do want to point out, now that we've sort of got the outside packaging on, The card and Webcode is actually going to be located here on the bottom. So if you see it in the store, for example, Light Core Eruptor here has got the card right behind him, like you're accustomed to. Same way with the triple packs and the repos and brand new characters, they always have the card behind them. The Giants have them below. I've actually had a couple people worry that they bought something for their kids and they didn't get the card. The cards are here. They'll just sort of be at the bottom. You can actually see them if you take a good look. Again, when you deal with the Giants or the Light Core characters, try to be extra careful when you unpack them, just because you do not, obviously want to do something that could impact the way they light up. I don't know at this point in time if they're defects or if people are just getting some that have been dropped. I guess people think the fragile is fraggle or something. But I've actually heard a few people, like I said, in the starter packs, they pulled so hard on Tree Rex they heard a snap and then it didn't light up properly, etc. But main thing is just try and focus your pressure like you see me doing on the blister packaging. That seems to be the best way about it. They're stuck in these things very well. That makes it kind of hard to do what I say, but like I say, just don't come in and grab them by the head or the hammer. Interestingly enough, this hammer is a little bit tighter than Granite Crusher. I've had a lot of people kind of concerned about that. But now that we have freed him from his packaging, here's a good look at him. For anybody that likes the color green, this is probably going to be the route you want to go, provided you've got your pick between Granite Crusher and this version. He's just a very cool looking guy in my opinion. Basically his story growing up, as soon as he put on his father's mining helmet, which obviously that's a mining helmet if you wondered, he knew that what he wanted to do in life was basically crush minerals. He handcrafted his own hammer, actually named it Crusher as well, and he just essentially traveled around Skylanders looking for rocks and minerals to crush. As fate would have it, the evil Archean King was basically doing the same thing. However, he wasn't doing it for fun, and he was doing it in great excess, basically to use the rocks and minerals to make robots for the Archean army. At that point in time, Crusher decided that he was going to take off, join up with Eon and the Skylanders and help fight the evil Archean King. The rest is basically history at this point in time. That said, with Crusher, you obviously get the trading card. The instructions are packaged. We'll just throw that down. And then the sticker sheet here. Obviously, you've got the sticker, his name. There's a QR code here under my thumb. And then over here, you've got the Webcode for Skylanders Spyro's Universe. Crusher, we'll bring him back up here. His power or strength is 140, defense 140 of 150, agility 50 of 150, and luck 60 of 150. Again, these cards, as you know last time, they don't really amount to much, but since they come with them, I always just kind of have a habit of doing it. Here's a comparison between these two. The cards are essentially, the same layout, same color schemes. Only thing different, is gray and green and black and blue. If you note, strength 140, defense 140, agility 50, and luck 60. On these cards, even though that doesn't amount to much, they're exactly the same. Hopefully, like I said, as soon as tomorrow, I'm going to finally put Giants in the game. I'm probably going to spend one or maybe even two videos just going through some basic things and providing answers on that sort of stuff. Essentially what they look like in the game definitively. I'll finally be able to do it myself. And then whether it's got Granite Crusher in the name like it did with Dark Spyro, everything like that. That said, we'll go ahead. Since I have Granite Crusher here, like I said, I kind of wanted to compare Granite Crusher to Crusher when I got him. But like I had said earlier in the video, I actually pre-ordered Crusher. In my wildest dreams, didn't imagine I'd get Granite Crusher. Got lucky, but like I said, I mean, this is basically just a repaint. You know, for whatever reason, that hammer is a bit more sturdy. A lot of people seem concerned about that. What I want to do now, obviously, this is kind of something I'm going to try to incorporate in the unboxings, you know, for the Giants and for the Light Core. Going to come in here. This is, again, the wireless portal that came with the starter kit for the Wii. Last time around, obviously. Now it's back there. It's a wired portal like PS3 and 360 had. We will turn it on, and what I'm going to do is place Crusher onto the portal of power. Okay, he lights up. I don't know if you can see it from there, but the crystal shards here are actually lighting up green, and then his eyes are blue. All the colors are very vivid. It's another deal where the camera, you know, I'm right under a can light here, which is good most of the time, except in cases like this. But I'll kill the lights here in a second. You're not supposed to be able to do this, I don't think. But here they are, side by side. You know, everything on Granite Crusher is blue. Essentially the same eye color. Again, I'll kill the lights here in a second for you. But I'll set them down, kill the lights. We'll try to see if we can't get a better look at them. Alright, sadly, from this vantage point, you can't really tell anything through the camera. In person, they both look incredibly awesome. I'm going to go ahead and pick this up for you. Wish I had my cell phone right by me. I'd try to light, but nothing else. You can get a, you know, direct contrast in the colors here. Is obviously we've got Granite Crusher here, and then standard issue Crusher here with the green. This time I can tell already that the camera is not going to do a good job of showcasing it. But in person, again, just trust me, it looks pretty cool. So far, I really like the way that Prism Break has lit up the best. And since I am curious if I can find him here. Okay, so this is a bit of an overload on the portal. Obviously, in the game, this is not going to work. You know, but I've got 3 characters here. You can already tell, just even through the camera, how much just putting Prism Break on lights up the 2 Crushers here. I'll turn them around. Can sort of see a little more detail that way. You know, and since I'm, again, kind of wasting everyone's time with my own curiosity, okay, that may be... No, he's lighting up. That looks like a jack-o'-lantern from this angle. We've basically got 4 people powered up. This is obviously Light Core Eruptor. I can't really tilt this without dropping everyone off the top, but the cool thing is, from this vantage point, it basically looks like we've got a jack-o'-lantern, you know, on the portal of power. I'll see if I can turn him a little bit. I can't really get enough of Eruptor's base on. We just sort of lost Crusher there. Or Granite Crusher, I'm sorry. Anyway, I will kind of quit playing around here. I'm just trying to do my best to show you what they do look like. That said, since we are killing some time here. Okay, glow-in-the-dark cinder still won't show up well for you. I do have a pretty good picture of her. Let me see. Yeah, that's just... For whatever reason, this camera, when it's in video mode, I cannot capture the glow-in-the-dark. I did get a pretty dadgum cool picture on my cell phone. I'll get on the blog for everybody. But let me go turn the lights on. Okay, so now that we're back to the Christmas tree here, God, I really hope that between the lights on and the lights out, you'll get a good feel for everything. This is a scenario that you'll never have. This is, like I said, just kind of me being curious, and I know I've had a lot of people ask the same questions, but let me get Granite Crusher off here. We've sort of done him already. But the star of this unboxing is, of course, Crusher. I don't really think he showed up well with the lights out until we had Prism Break there with him. With the lights on, it really doesn't do him justice, but you'll have to take my word for it again, just like with Light Core Prism Break. He does look very, very cool. Obviously, the big issue with him, if you get the emphasis on big, is that he is a giant. Like I said, hopefully tomorrow night I'll get to throw the game into the Wii, start playing, sort of see, how they compare, everything like that. But again, the Giants retail for $14.99. That's pretty much across the board. From what I've seen, I've been in Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. All the stores pretty well had stock on Giants. I have noticed online, particularly at GameStop, that they seem to have sold out. I think Toys R Us took a few of them, down from ship to home. But I think they should be, at least these three, Bouncer, Swarm, and Crusher. I think you'll have a fairly easy time tracking them down here early on. That said, Crusher looks very, very cool. If his gameplay is, half as good as I'm expecting it to be, he will be tough to top, at least in my opinion. But again, $14.99, what you get is obviously Crusher, the Giant. You get his stat card, and then of course you get the sticker sheet with his webcode for Spyro's Universe. Again, basically all that lights up, at least on mine, are these three crystals across his belt, and then his eyes. Interestingly enough, the crystals are green, the eyes are blue. On Granite Crusher, everything that lights up is blue. The three crystals are blue, and his eyes are blue. I didn't mention this on Granite Crusher for some reason, probably because I was in a hurry, but I did think it was a nice touch right here, sort of on the armor band. You've got the Earth Element logo. And again, just since I mentioned it there, the Giants in Series 2, everything like that, is going to have the orange base as opposed to the green base that you see here on Series 1 Prism Break. But they will have the Elemental logo on the bottom. If you do get one that does not light up, if you were careful with it, like I said, I don't know why some portals wouldn't light them up and mine does, particularly what should be the weakest with the battery powered version. I think there is a number on Activision's website you can actually call if you have a defect, or say you're unboxing it, or your kids are and they actually pull the hammer off or something. I don't know if they charge, I don't know if it's free, but if you get into a situation, particularly with Granite Crusher, somebody that might be really hard to come by, instead of trying to return it, which the store may not take it back anyway, or returning it, say, for a standard issue Crusher, might be worth your time trying out Activision, seeing if they can't maybe help you out and, basically let you keep the figure that you wanted, or is going to be hard to come by. But again, this is believe it or not, a video that was supposed to focus on Crusher. There's just so much to cover on these, it's kind of overwhelming. But again, for what it's worth, the hammer on Crusher seems to sit lower and be much tighter than it is with Granite Crusher. The eyes light up blue, the belt here lights up green. His color scheme is kind of a stone gray, if you will, with silver cuffs and armor, and then a little bit of kind of just a generic green paint, on the rest of him. But looks great in my opinion. My favorite Giant by a considerable margin aesthetically. Like I said, what I plan to do now is just sort of come in and play with these couple ones we've unboxed, sort of see if we can't get the basics figured out, and then I'll kind of go gun-ho into the blind playthrough. But Granite Crusher right here, $14.99. You get Crusher, the card, the drill by now, sticker sheet, webcode. Again, my apologies on the length of the video. I could do it much shorter, but obviously what I try to do is answer as many questions as possible. And as you can probably tell, I'm kind of curious about it too. But as I figure things out, I'll keep you posted. If you have questions, feel free to ask here on YouTube or the blog. oneofwisdom.blogspot.com. The blog is your best bet for a quick response. You can follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, whichever you prefer. I'm also on Google+. As always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you back here for some more unboxings, and here shortly we will begin the blind playthrough on Skylanders Giants.